Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something to Chew on Talk Show. I'm Christine Fraser. I am your host and also the founder of Inner Glow Getter, where I've been helping women lose weight, feel better, gain more energy through food and healing modalities. And I love bringing on guests to share their expertise with all of these things around women and health. So I'm very much looking forward to introducing you to today's speaker, which is the lovely Dr. Jennifer. And she is a naturopathic doctor
Mhm.
in Calgary. And we are going to be talking about glowing through perimenopause and menopause. But Dr. Jennifer has been I can't wait for her to share more of her story as she got into this world, but she has been a keynote speaker at many events and has been in this world for over a decade, even just specifically with perimenopause and menopause.
20
So
years.
I am very excited to have her share her expertise because I know so many people are, even things that I didn't even realize were hormonal, things like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling forgetful, or I I just went into this room and why don't I remember what I was trying to get? Or those types of things are actually hormonally related, which we're going to get into in a second. And for those of you who are in the audience, just so you know, you're part of the live audience, you are able to ask questions. If you want to submit anonymously, you are welcome to throughout the chat, and we'll see where we can squeeze in the answer. You're also able to do a clap or an applaud. So if you want to do that, if you're on live with us right now and you want to test the little applaud button, we always love to see the little applause come up. If you can find the little applause button, definitely hit applause. And with that being said, with no further ado, I'm going to welcome Dr. Jennifer to start our talk show. And I would love if you could start by just introducing, how did a naturopathic doctor come in to specialize in simply just not just hormones, but that's kind of a primary focus for you. So I'd love to hear how you got into that journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Christine, for having me on. This is so beautiful. I just love talking to women and educating women on their health. And that is a good preface into this is how I got into perimenopause as being my niche. I was going through symptoms. I was getting really bad brain fog, headaches when I never had headaches ever. My eyes changed. They went from 2020 to I've changed my prescription 3 times in 18 months.
Wow.
Needing reading glasses, and I started noticing changes. Like, are we not all like walking by the mirror and going, "What is happening with my skin? What is happening
Mhm.
with my butt sagging? Why am I continuously waking up at 3:17 in the morning and thinking, what is wrong with me?" And that's what was happening to me. And at first, I didn't really clue in to that it was perimenopause. And I
Wow.
started feeling really alone and thinking, what is going on with me? And I was seeing women coming into my clinic with those symptoms and more: heavy bleeding, so heavy that their iron was going deficient, that they were exhausted, that everything was based around when they could leave the house or when they could not leave the house. And I thought to myself, I this is what's happening. I am going through perimenopause in my early 40s already. It's
Wow.
started.
Wow.
And that set me on a journey of looking at how can I help myself? How can I help my patients? And so I started diving into the research. And
Yeah.
Christine, there was not a lot of research back then.
Wow.
That was 8, 10 years ago. And
Yeah.
it, it's gotten to be better, but I started formulating where we need to go and what needs to be put in place so women can thrive through their 40s.
And I love that you use the word thrive, because you mentioned all when we first spoke about how people just think, oh, I'm getting older, and like, how do I deal with aging or anti-aging versus building strength and confidence and thriving into as we grow older. But I'm so curious. So what is the difference between perimenopause and menopause?
Such a good question. So this is the thing, and this is a thing that I think a lot of women are, maybe there's more awareness, but definitely not many women know. Perimenopause is a 4 to 10 year process. So
Okay.
we don't wake up with just all of a sudden we don't get a period and then we don't have a period for a year and then we're considered menopausal. This is a time frame of our ovaries are not producing good quality follicles. They're starting to wane and not produce those follicles, and as well as efficiently as they used to be able to. And that
Hmm.
leaves our hormone production to be starting to be not as good. And usually, what's happening early perimenopause, remember that's a 4 to 10 year process,
Wow.
progesterone is lower, so estrogen is higher,
Okay.
relatively speaking. And then as we get closer to menopause, estrogen starts to decrease as well. And
Okay.
so, menopause, I think most of us know the definition of menopause is 12 months with no period.
Okay.
And so that's the difference between perimenopause, menopause. And menopause, the technicalities is kind of silly, but menopause is 1 day. And then after that, you're postmenopausal. It's a technicality.
Hmm.
But essentially, that's the timeline of perimenopause, menopause. So if a woman is 38, 39, 40, 41, and she's starting to notice symptoms of, and she's going, couldn't be. I'm like, we all hear menopause being 50. So at 40, we're like, can't possibly be that I'm hormonal and things are,
Hmm.
I'm perimenopausal. It can
Hmm.
be because some women stop their last period at 48, 47. So it's potential.
So what about women who are on like some sort of birth control that don't get periods? How do they know?
So they will notice symptoms shifting and
Hmm.
changing. So
Hmm.
they might get more PMS, and
Okay.
so they don't. So if they're on a continuous birth control, they will often get PMS symptoms. They just don't get their period,
Got
and
it.
PMS symptoms start to get more prominent.
Got it.
For a woman who has an IUD and maybe she has just a little bit of spotting or no spotting, they can still get PMS symptoms. They can still feel there is still a shift in hormones happening. Um,
Yeah.
so, so they might notice shifts.
Yeah. So I notice in my work too that, and I'm curious for anybody live on the chat, feel free to message in and contribute to any of the symptoms you might be experiencing, because usually we're here because there's something that we're going through. I know for myself, it's a lot of women that are that emotional, I'd say emotional erratic behavior feels like they feel like emotionally out of control or kind of like losing motivation. Like there's just no more drive. And like there's like this daunting feeling of even getting out of bed in the morning, not really having that spark or like what the heck is like, and definitely weight gain. I think a lot of women that I work with too are very much like there's like this 20 pounds that just came on, and there's almost like a hopelessness because it's like I don't know what to do with it. So what would you say are some of the biggest lifestyle factors that are necessary to help remediate the emotional sort of maybe ups and downs, and also maybe that, I don't know, for me I just think it's a lot of women that are experiencing this like lack of drive. And let me know in the chat if I'm right, or if like give me a thumbs up or something in the chat, if you can relate. But I'm definitely curious of like what your lifestyle modalities that you feel like are helping to sort of mediate these symptoms.
Yes. So, and Christine, this is exactly what women come to me. First symptoms that they're coming with are they're noticing more mood swings, they're noticing their energy wane, they're not
Hmm.
sleeping as well. I see some
Yeah,
thumbs
see
up
the
there.
thumbs up, there
So
we go.
women
This is
are
how we
saying yes,
engage.
that's exactly what's happening. Thank you
Yes.
for giving us the thumbs up on that one. Um,
Yes.
so so this is where we're noticing hormonal shifts. And so
Yeah.
my Bunzenmeyer hormone reset program has
Yes.
4 pillars of care. And
Yeah.
this is what I find is that women are coming in, and that's why my pillar one is all about the basics, about energy, sleep, nutrition. But to build our nutrition, we need good energy and
Mhm.
willpower, and we need
Yeah.
good sleep so we're not craving. So I generally work on energy and sleep, and that can be
Okay.
anything from, so what's happening in a perimenopause time is our, if our progesterone is decreasing and estrogen is higher, progesterone is anxiolytic, so it calms us down. And
Mhm.
so if we don't have as much progesterone, we tend to be uh, awake in the middle of the night easier. We tend
Mhm.
to react to stress easier. And then that
Mhm.
affects our ability to manage that stress. And that affects our mood and our sleep.
Mhm. Okay.
Compound that with stress impacting us. Usually we've had stress through our 30s, building families, careers, all of that.
Mhm.
And so cortisol can often be high. And so that is where I look at cortisol modulation. So maybe that's looking at some herbs or nutrients.
Mhm.
So for example, Rolora or phosphatidylserine or meditation, or looking at blood sugar balance through the day to help support regulating our stress and our adrenals through
Mhm.
diet, so
Mhm.
that that can help our sleep and that cortisol.
Very important.
So,
Definitely, dietary factors I notice are huge with, yeah, blood sugar stabilization and, um, but how does someone, if they're like, if they're not sleeping, and obviously stress management things, like even just going for a walk, I find
yep,
so many women, if you're on this call and you do a little self audit, like, wait a second, how is my sleep patterns? But also that so many women I think are also, it's such a social media world now that there's a lot of being on your phone. How's the phone affecting the cortisol levels and things like that at nighttime? Like when you say get more sleep, is it get more sleep, or how do you have someone um, get
yes,
better at sleeping if they're
yeah,
waking up at 3 in the
yes,
morning?
yes. So part of that is that cortisol modulation. So I actually,
Mhm,
when I see a patient in my office, that's where I'm
mhm.
actually giving them herbs and nutrients, so supplements
Yeah,
to help
yeah,
with modulating. And then
got
I'm
it.
talking, what you're asking is, oh, I'm talking to them about the sleep hygiene. So
Yeah.
exactly that, getting off your phone at least an hour before so you don't have
Mhm,
that blue light in your eyes, because that
mhm.
decreases your melatonin production.
Got
So
it.
making sure that we've got blackout blinds so that the
Mm,
light is not coming in, because that affects our melatonin as well. Um,
mhm,
Making sure our room is cool, if we can, to help with regulating our temperature. So
mhm,
those sleep hygiene things, and then calming down and not doing work just before we go to bed, doing,
mhm.
having some type of routine so that we, a calming routine that's making us more, our nervous system is starting to get regulated down into this calming place.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
usually with a combination of sleep hygiene and some of those herbs, I find that women can sleep better.
Yeah.
So that, because what you're also asking is, we know the best things, like all research shows that the best things we can do lifestyle medicine wise is eat healthy and exercise. We all know it, but what is
Mhm,
stopping us from doing it? If we're
mhm.
from 2 to 4 in the middle of the night, we're pressing
Yeah,
snooze, and then we're missing
yeah,
our workouts. We're missing prepping our meals for the day so our blood sugar is more balanced. So
yeah,
that's why I start with working on that cortisol modulation, or looking at stress and how it's impacting them through
yeah.
the day and then affecting us at night.
I love that you say that. Even it's so cliche, right? The eat better and exercise, but when you actually sit there, and I'd love for all of you to just take a moment to reflect on your past week and how much have you moved your body. And it's not in a sense of like shaming yourself, but a lot of people can be honest and be like, oh yeah, I don't exercise, and because because they're so exhausted.
Well, and
It's
that's the
like this
thing.
perpetual cycle. So
Yeah.
I'm curious your suggestions to help someone to. I know for myself, one of the really powerful thing, if you leave with one thing, I feel like it's was when I woke up in the morning was to get outside and get natural sunlight. And the phone thing is a really tricky one, I think, for a lot of people. Even for myself, I listen to meditations on my phone at night. So I have the phone and it's in my room, and a part of me wants to just get it out of my room. Um, but getting outside, even for a walk. But I mean, clearly, we're also being told to lift weights and things like that in as we are growing in age and with menopause and hormonal things. They say like weightlifting is great for your bone strength. What what else are some of these? How do we actually do that when we're so tired?
Right. Well, and that's the thing. That's why I start with the energy and the sleep piece. So I think
Yes. Okay.
that is prominent. Then
Hmm.
looking at, so if we fixed energy and sleep, like we've
Hmm.
discussed, and we're
Yeah.
sleeping better and we have better energy, then we look
Hmm.
at, okay, how is our mood? Is our mood affecting cravings?
Hmm.
If mood is good, we'll come back to mood in a second. But it are we craving because our gut is off? So that's what my
Hmm.
purview is gut health. So if a woman's getting gassy, bloated, burping, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, we know there's
Hmm.
something off from a gut perspective.
Hmm.
And so when that happens, we tend to crave more. So now we're
Hmm.
starting to look at, from a lifestyle medicine perspective, diet, and can we
Hmm.
eat healthy, air quotation
Hmm.
marks. But like I always say, we know how we should eat healthy, but what's preventing us? So we've talked
Yeah.
about sleep and the cortisol. Say we've
Hmm.
looked at those. Then we're looking at, is there a gut health component or is
Hmm.
there a mood component?
Yeah.
And our mood, if our mood is low, we're going to crave more. We're going to reach for that emotional eating aspect.
Mhm.
So
Those people want the sugar too, or just junk food.
yeah,
It's like that evening junk food binging.
yes, exactly.
Hmm.
So, which then affects our sleep as well.
Hmm.
So first thing that I look at is, well, I mean, so many things. It depends individually the woman. But let's say from a mood perspective, first thing I would look at, are you bored? Do you get joy in your life? Because
Hmm.
many of us are bored at this place in our
Hmm.
40s and early
Hmm.
50s. We're
Hmm.
not getting the joy. It's all about all the shoulds that we should be doing. So where
Hmm.
can we get joy? Where can we have fun in our lives?
Yeah, the
So that's
day-to-day
all
responsibilities, go to work, feed the kids, do the this, and
around.
just like, yeah, it's monotonous.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
And then from a movement perspective, again, like if you hate the gym, you're never going
Hmm.
to go to the gym.
Hmm.
So what are
Yeah.
the activities that you love to do?
Yeah.
And if we get you sleeping and your energy is better, then you're more apt to go do those activities. And
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
that can help your mood. And then that
Yeah.
helps your cravings.
Yeah, and I often tell people like don't trust yourself when you're trying to do something that you haven't been able to do because you're exhausted. Go commit to something that takes you out of the house that's like a class or a yeah, like a pickleball thing or something that actually I know for myself, I was always like, I'm going to be a runner and I just would never run, never run. Then I signed up for a half marathon training, which I don't recommend doing. But but it got me go doing the thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I ran 20, 30 kilometers a week just by signing up for the thing. So it's not about running the half marathon or that training, because actually that's probably not the best thing for your hormones. But as I learned as I did that,
Yeah.
but I learned the power of overcoming yourself is literally like registering for something, register for the yoga workshops, the yoga practices or whatever, to get your body moving. Movement is such a critical and underrated thing. Everybody wants some magic pseudo
Totally.
thing that is going to be the thing, but it's that commitment to move your body is
Yeah.
incredibly powerful. So I love that. And then so what are your other pillars? So we got sleep underway. We're getting to move our bodies. Then what's your next pillars that we need to look
Um,
at?
and then mood's better. Let's look at gut. If
Yeah,
any,
gut.
so gas, bloating, burping, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, insult to the gut, like food poisoning, and then that went off, or
Hmm.
antibiotics, or really bad stomach flu, that tells
Yeah.
me your microbiome is off balance. And that's where I
Okay.
would look into, do we need to do a very common term now is SIBO work. So
Yeah.
SIBO.
Hmm.
Sometimes there can be that's an acronym for small intestinal bacteria overgrowth.
Hmm.
So I will often test for that and then
Hmm.
treat the SIBO if that's what's happening. So basically, what's happening with the gas and the bloating, often microbes are. So we now know, like, this is not just trendy language. We actually now know microbiome is a thing. Like, this is a really important aspect of our health. If our
Yeah.
microbiome, our flora is off balance, that
Hmm.
is going to create inflammation in the gut. And those
Hmm.
inflammatory markers go to all areas of the body. And
Hmm.
this is another aspect of, if inflammation is there, it's going to be really hard to lose weight. And
Yeah.
so if we've got inflammation and we've got high cortisol, that is a
Yes.
double whammy to the system, right?
Hmm.
So that's where I might look at support from a gut health perspective. So I use, like, when I see clients in my office, I use, or virtually, I use antimicrobial herbs to kill off that SIBO. And then we
Hmm.
do that work to repair the walls. So I look at the intestines like a hallway. If there's cobwebs and dust and all sorts of, like, everything's really off, that's going to
Yeah.
affect our health.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be able to get through the doors, right? Then
And
we're
that's
not
also a
going to be
huge element of mental health, I feel like, is gut health, that gut
huge.
brain connection. So if you're feeling that like overbearing emotional distress, obviously check, one of my first things, check your sugar intake. And because that's also, we're also feeding that emotional distress typically with sugar. And so it's kind of like getting to the root of the root of the root. And that's why I love what you said about even finding your joy. And it's kind of a bit of a overlooking a whole life overhaul in a lot of ways. But when you say eating right, I have my ways of eating right. What would you say is a meal or a go-to,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah,
combination
love
that
this.
works, that your clients are like, your patients are like, this has been a game changer? What's a game changer meal or something that gives them that nutrient density that satisfies them and
Yep.
that isn't too hard to make? I always love getting people's inputs on this, because I know a lot
Well,
of people are like, yeah, I know what I should eat, but I know for me, I spent 10 years, and that's why I became a chef, because I was like so stuck in the what do I eat? Like, everybody keeps saying eat healthier, eat whole foods, but what does that look like exactly? As a meal on my plate, what does that look like?
yes. So my basics is, if we look at the build your plate principle. So, and I
Yes.
have this as a downloadable guide on my website under my 4 secrets of hormone health. So if we
Yes.
have our plate and we have half our plate veggies, so
Yeah.
salads, broccoli, cauliflower, we'll get into how you do that in a second.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
quarter plate protein, so chicken,
Hmm.
fish, beef, tofu, from that perspective.
Yes.
And then a
Yeah.
quarter plate starch. So
Hmm.
preferably whole grains, brown rice, quinoa. It's easy to, well, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth because nothing could be easy if you're like running around. But cook a huge pot of brown rice or quinoa, keep it in the fridge for a couple days. And
Yeah.
then from a protein perspective, I like to batch cook. And so you probably
Yeah.
teach this at some point of
Yes. Yes.
batch cooking. And you have a really good cooking show coming up as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
do. Cooking workshops. Yeah, that's my jam.
Yeah.
But yes.
So batch cooking our protein. So making a big turkey and then freezing some of it, or
Hmm.
making ground turkey meatballs and then freezing
Hmm.
those, things
Hmm.
like that. So that building your plate principle is a good place to start because that balances our sugars. We're not, as soon as we're
Yes.
getting more carbs on our plates, so more
Hmm.
starch, so those grains,
Yeah.
and as soon as those grains turn into white grains, it's
Hmm.
easier to get the sugar into the bloodstream. And then our blood
Hmm.
sugar will spike up, and then
Yeah.
insulin comes along and it shoves the sugar into the cells, and your blood sugar drops. And that causes
Yeah.
you to crave more. So
Yes.
my other general rule of thumb is an hour after your meal, note to see if you're craving more.
Hmm.
Note to see if you're brain foggy, tired, just can't concentrate. Those are signs that your plate was off
Yeah.
balance. And
Yeah.
so first thing I look at, did you have too much starch? Was there not
Hmm.
enough protein?
Yeah.
Did you have enough veggies?
What do you feel like, and feel free to ask any questions in the chat if you have something specific too, but for me, there's always a lot of talk about, I used to be really big advocate around fasting till noon and like almost like giving your body, I never felt hungry in the morning. And now I'm being more mindful of, what's your thoughts on getting like this 30 grams of protein for breakfast? How is that affecting our hormones with our breakfast, with our meals in the morning?
Mhm. I think there's different schools of thought with this. And
Yes.
so I would say thank you for asking the question, first off.
Yeah.
I've been on many speaker panels, and this question does not get asked, and I think it should be looked at.
Hmm.
Um, so, so for some women, and I would say a lot of women are in this category of high stress,
Hmm.
cortisol being very high, cortisol
Yeah.
waking us up in the middle of the night.
Hmm.
Part of that, the reason that could be happening is our blood sugar is dropping. And our adrenals are not
Hmm.
able to stimulate the liver to put sugar back into the system. That's part of the reason why I support adrenals. And so with adaptogenic herbs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so, so for that woman, intermittent fasting might not be what she needs because
Mhm,
she's fasted all night. Her glucose is down. It's taxing
mhm,
her adrenals to put sugar back into the system to get her to that 11 a.m. to eat.
mhm,
So those women do really well, I find,
mhm,
on high protein breakfast. And I'm
mhm.
a big advocate of as long as there's no kidney issues, that a woman is getting at least 15 to 20 grams of protein breakfast, lunch, and dinner to
Yeah.
help balance her sugars, to
Mhm,
help. Protein in Chinese medicine is very grounding and centering. And
mhm,
so many of us are very stressed and our nervous system needs that grounding.
mhm.
And
Grounding, yes.
mhm, yes, so getting protein first thing in the morning, whether that be protein shake with blueberries or that's chicken or fish with broth,
Mhm,
like you pick what type of protein you use, can be very.
mhm. Yeah.
So the other aspect, there is validity with intermittent fasting. And if a woman is coming to me and we've done that adrenal work and she's more balanced, but she's not losing the weight, we might look at intermittent fasting, but we might
Mhm.
even dose it so that, or pulse it. So it's not every day, it's just some days. So
Yeah,
my answer to this is, and anyone listening, it's individual. There's
yeah,
no right or wrong. It's all depends on you and
yeah.
what your health history is, where you're at. Um,
Mhm.
it's really important to kind of gauge that, and I'm
Yeah,
happy to work with anyone on that,
yeah,
or talk to a health provider to help support you in that journey.
yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that because I think that I have a client that loves, she's obsessed with, I have a lentil soup recipe that is just super simple. This is part of my free recipe packages that I give to everybody. So if you don't have it, let me know. I can get it to you. But it's just like lentil soup and she like lives off of it because it's grounding. It's got lots of vegetables. The broth is full of herbs, which are medicinal,
Mm.
and it's simple to make, but she loves it for breakfast. And I was like, no doubt, because like we said, it's
Yeah,
grounding, and
yeah,
everybody's having a lot of like, either they're having bagels or things that are just like, you know,
muffins.
sugar
Yeah,
destabilizing. Yeah, I'm always shocked when I go to like even Starbucks and things like, why are they selling just like muffins and all these everything's bread, 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 bread. And I'm
right.
just no wonder it's such a struggle for people.
Yep,
Um, don't look at that as food. Let's not look at that as food. Because the more I stepped away from that, I used to live off of that stuff. And I was just like, what are we doing to our world with this accessibility to just carbs, carbs, sugar,
right.
and
Yeah,
no wonder we're coming out of it. So I love what you said, just the simplicity of like your protein, your vegetables, a starch, like that is so back to basics. And if you can set the
yep,
plan out for the week in advance, just even just a simple like 10 minutes at the beginning of your week to just say, what am I eating? That has been a tool that is so
mhm,
potent for people. Let's not overcomplicate it. Like, what am I eating? And it's always start with what you know and grow. For myself, I didn't even used to know what an avocado was. And it's like, oh, and then for the first time you make guacamole and it's like, wow, that's amazing. And you don't need that many recipes to have to change your entire repertoire around. So
yep,
um
totally.
I
You get
love
your
this.
that's what I always say to my clients is you get your basics, start
Yeah.
with some basic recipes that you know are balanced,
Yeah.
and then you can build on that. And then
Yes.
maybe like you said with a challenge of exercise, maybe you also do a challenge of one recipe every 2 weeks that's new.
Yes.
So you can
Yes,
get
exactly.
new things in your world as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Really important.
Christine,
So
one other thing that I wanted to just mention with that,
please, yeah.
with the blood sugar balance. So the reason that this is important, and this is part of my passion for getting the word out to women in their early 40s, late 30s,
Yes.
what they can do to help support themselves all through their 40s. Menopause sets us up for more risk factors for diabetes and insulin resistance,
Hmm.
cardiovascular disease, so heart attacks, strokes, bone loss, and which one am I missing? Dementia.
Dementia.
Yeah,
I know I've been sort of fear mongering people about this because I think
and
it's so important. Like if your brain's like this now, wait for 20 more years. And yeah, so
yeah,
tell me
yeah.
more about
So,
dementia or remediating illness.
so that, so knowing that, like when we think about menopause, we think about weight gain,
Hmm.
um, uh, mood swings, hot flashes. But
Hmm.
I'm really trying to help build awareness that there's
Hmm.
these factors, and everything we do in our 30s and 40s sets us up for whether we get those diseases or not and
Wow.
puts us at more risk. So I
Okay.
was at a dementia lecture not too long ago of a naturopathic doctor who's doing his PhD in longevity medicine, so aging.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he was saying dementia starts 40 years before. 40.
Wow. How many of you feel like you have dementia now?
so 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 we know blood sugar balance with diet is
Yeah.
huge for
Wow.
that's why we're talking about meal like building your plate and balancing your sugars now. If I can help a woman sleep better and have good energy so she's having less cravings and she can prep her meals so she's
Hmm.
more balanced and she can do the blood sugar balancing with diet, then that is a win if she can be in that place all through her 40s of good blood sugar balance with her diet and good
Hmm.
exercise. That is setting her up for success for her 50s and 60s.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, don't worry if you're 48 and it's been off, we can
Hmm.
still work on things. Like wherever you are, we can work on it.
Hmm.
Um, so and then one other thing that I love to make sure that people know
Hmm.
is here's some stats. So the 3 years around our last period, we're losing a ton of muscle and
Hmm.
we're losing a ton of bone, a ton.
Okay.
So
Okay.
10 years, studies show the 10 years around our last period, we lose
Mm-hmm.
10% bone.
Wow.
So the 3 years around our last period, we lose 7% of that.
Wow.
So I really want that to sink in. And so this is not fear mongering. This is instead, when I heard
Mhm.
that study last
Yeah.
year on a walk with my dog and I was listening to my menopause intensives, when I heard that, I always find it motivating to and inspiring. It made me think about my weight workouts. It made me think about I was inspired to do the exercise because I was
Yeah.
like, I was 49 at the time. I was like, this is the time that I need to make sure I'm building my muscle. And so
Mm-hmm.
and eating healthy and balancing my sugars and all of that. So it's more, I want women to know that. So wherever you are in your journey, you can
Mm-hmm.
help support yourself. And if you're having an issue with diet cravings and low energy that it's preventing you from doing the workouts and all of that, let's work on it. Like there is there's a reason why if you're not doing it, and we just need to get to the reason why, and then we'll
Yeah.
be able to help you get through to that process of supporting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very non-judgmental, just give yourself permission to be where you're at and look at
Yes.
how can you help support yourself
Mm-hmm.
to move forward and take action where you feel you need.
Yes. I love that you're saying this because I was just talking to with a mentor, and I thought one of my favorite things that was ever said to me in mentorship in any way, in health, in business, in anything you want, is take a look at the outcome you're looking for. So say you're sitting there, you're like, I gotta lose 30 pounds, I'm exhausted. Like, you're just like, and often when we set goals, a lot of people feel the lack of I'm not there, and it's actually defeating to even set a goal. So what I
Yes,
loved is just this idea of you set the goal as just that step one, but you actually look at those steps like the exercising, like the lifting weights, and break it down to what's the activity that I would need to do to get to that goal, and how can I fall in love with that.
ooh,
How
I
can
love
I fall in love with that? So for people that run businesses and it's like, oh my gosh, I want to hit this income goal, fall in love with the connecting with the people and service. Fall in love with
that.
and like what you were saying earlier, if you don't like going to the gym, fall in love with just building your strength while you're watching a show. I'll sometimes sit there and just have my weights and I'm just like, I'm getting stronger. My muscle
Yes,
and just do it while you're doing something that maybe, everybody's guilty of watching Netflix and whatever. It's like, great, well, take 5 minutes, set the timer, and just build some strength. Like, I think it's like, it releases endorphins, it makes you feel better. So having that as like a daily ritual is a powerful, powerful thing. So I love that. And
and
you
find
mentioned,
your
go ahead.
why. Find your why. Find your
Yeah.
why of you. Why do you want to do that? Is it
Yeah.
because you want to be able to run with your grandchildren? Is it
Mhm.
that you want to be able to go hike Machu Picchu?
Yeah.
Find your why, and it's
Yeah.
more motivating to go get
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people just start to
Mm.
feel defeated. They don't have those dreams. It's like start recreate your dreams. Recreate. This is like the perfect time of life to set new visions for yourself. Life is so short. I feel like it's like we want to keep ourselves in the optimal health so that we can go have the inspiration to go to Morocco or wherever and travels and or start side projects or have that inspiration. Life is meant to be inspiring. So I have a question for you about, obviously what the first thing people want to do is they're experiencing all these symptoms. I'm gaining weight, I feel like crap, I have hot flashes, I'm going to get my lab work, I go to the doctor, I get my test done, and the labs come back normal.
Yes, but I'm
Yeah.
not feeling good.
But I'm not feeling good. Please tell me what we do from there.
Yes, exactly. So, first off, so lab work and the reference ranges of lab work is, I'm glad that things are normal, actually. That means you're not
Hmm.
out of range and you're not in more of a disease state. So that's
Hmm.
actually a good thing. Um,
Hmm.
Secondly, from a naturopathic standpoint, our reference ranges can sometimes be a little bit more narrow.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm trying to prevent some of those things from getting out of range. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would take a second look at the blood work, and
Mm-hmm.
I would look at trends from year to year. So when I see clients, I have a whole spreadsheet that I'm an analyzer. I have an
Yeah.
analytical mind, and I sit down and I compare year to year what is happening
Mm-hmm.
with their thyroid stimulating hormone, what is
Okay.
happening with their hemoglobin A1C. And if I'm seeing that that TSH is going from 1.2 to 2.2 to 3, I'm going to be, that's showing that a woman is going more low thyroid or sluggish metabolism. Or
Mm-hmm.
seeing hemoglobin A1C going from, which is reflective of what's happening with your blood sugar over the last 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so say it's normal ranges anywhere up to 5.9, but
Mm-hmm.
we like to see it naturopathically and functional medicine wise, 5.2 to 5.4. I just recently learned in an obesity medicine intensive that
Mm-hmm.
at 5.6, there's
Mm-hmm.
microvascular shifts that are already happening,
Okay.
meaning our capillaries and our blood vessels, there's shifts that glucose is doing something to our capillaries. So if I'm seeing 5.2, 5.4, and then 5.6, but it's not getting flagged pre-diabetic, it's 5.9 in Alberta, that's
Mm-hmm.
telling me something.
Mm-hmm.
so so essentially symptoms are red flags. So think of your system, your health as an iceberg. So
Mm-hmm.
if the iceberg has pointed out of the water, the tip of the iceberg is your symptoms. But
Okay.
what is brewing underneath?
Mm-hmm.
So symptoms are there, and maybe like even before that, symptoms, and maybe right underneath the water is lab work conventional, but what is going on underneath?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we want to look at the whole picture. I'm always, my initial appointments, an hour and a half with clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I am looking at their whole health history. And usually there's things that are connected that I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at that is telling me a picture of where the body is at. The body is speaking to us. It's our
Yes.
job to listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you basically you go into like further diagnostics.
Right. And
What like
pairing
say with like thyroid and all these things that maybe aren't in some regular checkups.
so those factors that I just mentioned are
Yeah.
usually general run-of-the-mill testing.
Okay. Okay.
So we look at those. We might look at other diagnostics.
Yeah.
So we might run like a full thyroid panel. Sometimes that is not all run, like free T3, free T4, thyroid antibodies, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even with what has been tested, we can often find lots with symptoms as well.
Amazing. So I've been coming back to like the dementia and the bone loss and all this stuff. It
Mhm.
sounds like you're saying like get your sugar out of in control.
Yep,
Like
totally.
sugar to me is and it's my nemesis because everybody knows I'm like this health coach and natural food chef and whole foods things, but people don't know like I was a sugar addict for about 10 years.
Oh, me
And it
too. Yes.
And it, and I think a lot of people can relate to that where it's like nobody wants to almost admit it, but they're like, yeah, you're eating the bags of and I even when people say sugar, I'm always like, yeah, I would never eat sugar. It's like, but then people don't realize like, oh, but I'm having even all your sauces and your ketchups and your candies that you're eating at the movie theaters and the amount of sugar that people are consuming is unbelievable. And I know because I was one of them. It was just an I used to have the candy drawer in my desk and I just ate it all day long. So this is really kind of what it sounds like, from a nutritional perspective is like one of the biggest detriments to our hormones and to our mental health and to dementia and all of these things is cutting out sugar
Yes. Yeah. Or at least
and whole
decrease
foods. Yeah, decreasing it significantly,
whole
having
food.
more whole foods, yes. A
Yes.
a
Good
huge, huge
protein
piece.
choices, lots of
Now
vegetables, Mediterranean
lots of vegetables.
diet type of eat.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so, what about weight? So, what if someone who's like, I do eat healthy, I work out every day, and the weight isn't doing anything? And maybe I'm doing my stress reduction, I meditate, but I have like 50 pounds to lose. What do we do about the weight?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I know we're running out of time, so I'll try to
Yeah, it's
bottom line
okay.
this, but I could
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
fine.
this forever. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go back to if we know our why, then we know what to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at why it happens. So early perimenopause, so possibly late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
Usually, if I had to generalize, a woman is either in two categories. So either her thyroid is starting to go off, and that is
Mm-hmm.
affecting weight. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
three categories. Well, four. Cortisol is going high, and then
Mm-hmm.
cortisol, mid-abdominal weight gain. Her gut,
Yes.
her gut is off, so then there's inflammation, and then it's hard to
Yeah.
lose. And that could be also lending to food sensitivity as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
then fourth is her hormones are shifting, progesterone's going lower, estrogen is more dominant.
Yeah.
So, and I say that very loosely because estrogen dominance is a bit of a misnomer because it's not always dominant. So estrogen fluctuates through our monthly cycle. And so it
Mm-hmm.
does fall at certain times, and that can create headaches and all of that. But generally speaking, compared to progesterone, because progesterone's lowering so much, estrogen is a lot higher. And that causes
Mm-hmm.
water retention, weight gain, gain around the abdomen, mood swings, PMS. So I'm looking to see if a woman is showing symptoms of that. Is PMS getting worse? Is she moody, irritable, weight gain, like 2 to 5 pounds of weight around her period?
Mm-hmm.
Heavy breast tenderness is a big one for high estrogen. And if that is, there's some things we can do to help support her liver at processing that estrogen. So there's certain
Mm.
nutrients like DIM or calcium D-glucarate, like these are in supplement form. And I'm going to preface this with it's really important that you work with a health practitioner on this,
Yeah.
because if you take those things, you can bring your estrogen down too low. So I
Okay.
usually only do those for a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So personally worked all through my 40s. I would feel this like mid abdominal frumpiness coming on, my PMS getting worse, more headachy. Those were my
Mm-hmm.
symptoms. I would do some of those supplements,
Mm-hmm.
possibly do some cleansing with intestinal cleansing, and
Mm-hmm.
I could feel a shift in like that weight coming off.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
Then we get closer to menopause, our estrogen starts going down. And that is what's lending to insulin resistance. And
Mm-hmm.
our blood sugar is going up, and triglycerides increasing, fatty liver, and the weight gain. So our body is smart. So estrogen coming down, our body produces more fat cells because fat
Mm-hmm.
produces estrogen.
Got
So
it.
our ovaries are not producing the estrogen as much, but our fat will and our adrenals will. And actually, Lisa Mosconi in her book, The Menopause Brain, says that our brain actually does as well.
Oh, that's a good resource to write down. The menopause brain.
The Menopause Brain by Lisa Mosconi. Love that book. Yes,
Okay, lovely.
she is wonderful. And she's doing tons of dementia, Alzheimer's research as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, so, uh, so I just thought of a statistic that I just wanted to share. So, which is
Yeah.
like really off topic and off a tangent, but in her book, she said exercise decreases hot flashes by 49%, uh,
Wow.
versus HRT decreases hot flashes by 75%. So, I thought that was such an interesting citing because estrogen or diet or exercise is just lifestyle versus
Mm-hmm.
HRT is a drug, right? So,
Yeah.
like, so much that we can do from a lifestyle medicine perspective. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so I digress. So, then we're from a low estrogen perspective, then we're looking at insulin resistance at that point.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that changes how I support weight loss.
Mhm.
And so once I assess for all of those things, then
Mhm.
I pick my treatment pending on where I think the woman is at. Is she
Yeah.
high estrogen? Is her thyroid off? Is blood sugar off because insulin resistance is there? And then I would look at the lifestyle things. So that could be anything from cleaning up the gut to decreasing sugar in the gut, building your plate principle, to
Mhm.
everything else we've talked about. So cortisol
Mhm.
modulation. If her thyroid is starting to go off, there's some really nice nutrients that in supplement
Mhm.
form that you can look at as well.
Mhm.
Um, so my point with this is we have to assess to see what's happening and why the woman's not losing weight,
Mhm.
and then we treat from there.
Okay, that's really important. I love that. That's why I often, I have my modalities but I always say, like, it's so important to um, get assessed to know what really is the underlying issue, right? You can do all the generic things and they can have really amazing results. However, it's also really nice to know, like, is this a thyroid thing, or is this
Yeah.
blood sugar? What is it? So I think that's really important. And I wanted to mention too, one of the things that I find really beneficial for so many people on so many levels, because we've talked about stress, we've talked about movement, and one of the things too that it's so critical is like this aligned food choices. So if you're like me, who is someone who just ate sugar most days, and I was a girl that ate my bagels in the morning and grabbed my bagel and cream cheese, and then had my candy, and then went to Subway for lunch, and came
Yep.
home and just like grabbed a burger on the way home from work. I know that so many of the world operates like that, and
Mhm.
one of the things that I think is really powerful and it's such a simple practice, but is yoga. Yoga to me was that movement practice
Mhm.
that helps release some of that stress. But having even, there's so many great yoga practices to go to, but honestly, 5 minutes in the morning was such a powerful thing, I think, for a lot of my clients too, where you go online, there's like 5 or 10 minute yoga practices first thing in the morning to just get connected to your breath and your movement that helps you align with healthier food choices. That is, like, so many people I think struggle with, like, even wanting to eat the food that they know is good for them, and that's something that can be implemented as just a short, small practice, that even 5 minutes, even doing a couple of sun salutations just to get into your body in the morning.
Yes, absolutely. I really love that suggestion. Like that is really, really great to set your day up for success.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I think that often we're so in our head about all the things we should be doing, and it's like coming back into the body of, like, I'm just waking up and I'm connecting to my body and I'm ready to love my body, and what can I think about having, and I often even just give myself little talking through in the morning of, I'm this healthy person. I love nutrient dense foods. I love beautiful salads. And it's funny because that really helps the trajectory of my eating patterns. 'Cause
That
it's
is
so easy to just
beautiful, Christine.
grab the different foods and crap, and then we end up with all these symptoms and we're stuck.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So it's a daily practice, right? It never ends.
It is a daily practice and every minute of every day is a choice. And
Yes.
give yourself permission. Like, so if breakfast was a wash and you didn't do well, then no, like, so say you picked, well, then keep going. And every minute of every day is a
It's a
choice
new
where
choice.
you
Yeah.
can go. But I will also, what popped up in my head when I said that is if you had a muffin or a bagel, just know that you're going to crave sugar for the rest of the day. And it's
Mhm,
going to be
mhm,
harder to control those cravings. And when
mhm.
I find when women are aware of that, then it's easier and just really get the protein in that day and just know
Yeah,
that you're going to crave it because your blood sugar has been set off at the beginning of the day.
yeah, yeah.
So
No,
we are
it's
never perfect.
yeah.
We will, there's always flub ups. There's always things like we can't live on an ashram and be perfect.
Unfortunately.
So exactly. So every minute of every day is a choice, and do
Hmm.
not be hard on yourself, right? Like
Yeah.
let go of, like, be aware that you're being hard on yourself and then let that
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Well, we have an offer for the audience from you with a guide. I'm going to post that in 1 second. As I post that, I'd love to hear, you have a really beautiful message around shifting the conversation around aging to focus on strength, confidence, and vitality. Can you speak to that as our final note while I put up your offer here? Everybody, if you're that is live, and we'll have this posted in the notes, but oh no, my your presentation text, it didn't pop up. That's so funny.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. If you hit get started now, that should give you, oh no, it didn't go to the thing. That's so funny. I had that set up. Let me
Yeah.
just if I post it in the chat here for everyone, I will get you in there. We'll just go back to our other open discussion page. To get everybody the link for you.
Yes.
I'll
While
post it
you're
in the
doing
chat.
that, how about I chat about
Yeah,
strength,
exactly.
vitality, and confidence? Yes, that
Yes,
gives me some
please.
time to do that. So here is my message from a strength perspective. So how can we build strength, vitality, and confidence in this time of we are women embracing who we really are? So from a strength perspective, it's all about building your bones. Even before that, I would say give yourself permission to be you. Give yourself
Mm,
permission to flub up and keep going and keep taking action. Build your bones. Make sure you're getting enough calcium. Uh, support stress. Do what you need to do to support the stress so that you have more willpower to do the things that you want to do. From a vitality perspective, it's all about stress support, cortisol management, adrenal support if you need it, and gut health, because our gut health is prime for decreasing inflammation and absorbing the nutrients to keep us healthy.
mhm,
And then from a confidence perspective, I find women are at a place in their 30s, late 30s, 40s, and 50s of really being who they are. They are ready to let go of the shoulds and just
mhm,
be who they are, and
mhm,
unapologetically. And we are here to move mountains. I am not done. We are not done. We are, as far as I'm concerned, just getting started at moving those mountains and being who we really want to be. And if you need
mhm,
help with that, get the help you need. Hire the psychologist, the therapist, myself, Christine, whoever you need to help fortify you, to support
mhm.
you, to go on your mission and be who you want to be.
Beautiful. It's so important. I think that's a big thing is investing in the support of helping you grow. That
Yes,
is like everything,
every.
everything I've accomplished, all these crazy wild dreams that have come true. I've always had a support team in the background of the
Oh,
support of my own health, my own mental health, my own nutrition. It's just like you say, it's getting more and more resources and tools and getting the tests done and going to see Dr. Jennifer, and if this is especially for those of you in Alberta, because I know there's a few of you here in Alberta, um, book an appointment, and you'll be amazed in just a matter of a few months what can transpire. So, any favorite testimonials, or I mean, not testimonies, but just like transformations that you've had in your work, like of certain women, any stories that stand out to you as a final inspiration for
oh,
the ladies?
like I have seen women doing cool, amazing things. Uh,
Yeah.
Getting their vitality back, getting their energy back, getting their gut under control.
Hmm.
I've seen them move mountains, and
Yeah.
like I feel blessed to have this medicine to help support women and
Yeah.
to educate women on how they can help support themselves, build their toolkit to
Yeah.
go live life at their fullest. That is my
Yes, I
goal.
love that. I love that. That is such a beautiful message and a way to tie in
Yeah,
all this stuff because this isn't like the downfall,
exactly. We are
right?
just getting started. Yes.
Yes. So I love that you have some amazing tools to support women and yeah, and just those reminders of really recommitting to some of the things that we know of, the exercise, the movement, the balanced eating, but that can be really tricky too to I know a lot of women that come into my world. It's hard out there in the world where everybody's not eating so healthfully, right?
Yep.
You need your tribes. You need your healthy tribes.
Yep. And
Amazing.
and the support to possibly do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dr. Jennifer's website is in the chat, and that has her amazing free guide at the bottom. You can opt in
Mm.
for it's a moody and gaining weight no matter what. Download my free guide to discover 4 natural secrets to feel energized, happy, and in control again. There's also you can go deeper into her program that she has